We're a citrus orchard of roughly about 70 hectares of citrus. It's mixed citrus. We've got Murcots, Imperials, lemons and limes. We're here today to have a quick chat to you about pruning and how critical and essential it is to prune your trees. And it's vital that you prune your trees on a yearly basis, and there's a number of things and a number of benefits that we gain by pruning our trees regularly. So just to name a few, making sure that the trees are shaped, good access, taking enough foliage out of the trees so that our foliar fertilisation, foliar ferts and pesticides penetrate the tree nicely. Ease of picking. We need to be able to cut a window in there so that the picker can access the tree. Another critical benefit is, pruning is a very cost-effective way of actually thinning. So on years where we're likely to encounter a heavy crop, we'll prune a little bit heavier. So it's a very, very effective way of pruning, of thinning as well. Fruit size tends to be, more easily managed. A good prune helps prevent wind rub and blemish. And look, it's just good for tree health in general. Okay, cost-wise each year, it's somewhere around about sort of $5 to $7 for a mature tree. Smaller trees, it might be $3 or $4 a tree, $3 to $5, and add another $3 on average for a bigger tree. Okay, so for mandarins, we prune those once a year. That normally comes after harvest. The hedger goes through the top, and then we prune the middle of the tree.
Okay, we're pruning these Murcots just to show you an example. We don't prune them really now, but after harvest we usually do. Now what we're trying to do is train the tree to where you want your limbs. We usually skirt them up so high, and then we take out the troublesome limbs, which are crossing through your tree or up. Sometimes we'll strengthen the top ones to make them stronger. Okay, to skirt the tree, you just get rid of your low limbs like that. Take a few out of your middles. There's another one crossing over. And another one. And you've nearly got most of your bottom tree covered. Right, take that one off. Just take him back in a bit. Take him out, there's too much there. Take that one out because there's two limbs together. And all we're doing to these young trees is training, trying to scaffold them into a nice tree when they grow. Yeah, but we're only going to just do a little bit because they're only young and still growing their own thing, but we're helping them train themselves. Just the middle ones a bit. Open the middle of your tree up a bit, the spray gets in better. There's too much limbs there and they're going in and out to the other side of the tree, which you don't want. You want them coming out, which is very simple. Mainly pruning's more common sense, and that's looking for your bad limbs. The reason we prune them while they're young like this is you're taking a small cut out instead of leaving it for 12 months and it's a big limb then, and it'll scar your tree worse. So that's why we take these low ones off now, and there's your limb there, a bit higher. You take all these little ones off before they grow into big ones, especially in the middles like that. And you get rid of them now, and they're less effort in what you've got to do down the track. See, he's growing from there to here, but he's on this limb. Well, you don't want that. You with me? He's going to be troublesome, all these ones are. So that's why you clean your middle out a little bit. Not till you want sunlight coming in too much, because that'll grow, it'll make it shoot everywhere when sun hits in there. And that's 10 times the amount of limbs to cut out, And that's why we do it while they're younger, like I said before. You're taking a little limb out instead of a big limb, which causes a lot more scarring. Like this one, see where it's going? That's why I said pruning's a bit more common sense. Just have a look what you got there. You can see there's too many limbs in it. So you take a few of these little ones off now. even this one. This is our imperial block, roughly 30-year-old on tri-stock. We won't usually prune them this time of year, but when we do, we hedge them, and then we prune the middles out a bit and open them up for the pickers and the fruit size. So what we're doing here is getting rid of our water shoots, which are just troublesome things when they just vigorously grow. You can see them coming everywhere, from down here, here, up in here. Here's a big one coming from the bottom straight up through your tree. So you don't want him. And you can see what we got out for the start. There's more to be done, like this one here, another one here. And like I said before, we don't usually prune this time of year, but I'm just doing this for a bit of a demonstration. You've got too many limbs in here, so we just take one out. And it breaks your tree up a bit, where you'll grow better fruit, not as much marks on them, and the rest of it. See, our water shoots are really everywhere. So you don't want them all in there. But you don't chop them all out. That is fruiting wood, which it will fruit, will grow real good fruit. This year these imperials haven't got much of a crop on. Alright, just look at these two limbs, right? We got them growing on each other, where we don't need to have that one. You just take this one off and then you look at the difference. See what it did? It opened it up into a nice growing limb now. Instead of having all that gapped up and rubbing together, this one here, you even shorten him back. And it'll grow a nice limb this way and that way, and hang nicely. But here, your pickers want to get in here to pick them. So by rights, some of this shouldn't be here, for pickers to be happy and content. And there's another one that you lighten it off, and you haven't got 4 limbs there, you just got 2. And like I'll always go back to the old saying of common sense when you're pruning. Look at what you're growing. If it looks like it's going the wrong way or rubbing up against something, get rid of it, just like that. That opens your tree up to a nice, the sprays can get in better. You always look at things, they're growing back into your tree, they're not going to change direction. Get rid of them. Clean up a lot of dead wood out of them. That saves rubbing on your fruit. When the wind comes up, you can see this fella's coming from here. Always get rid of these water shoots, they're just troublesome. If you don't, they'll grow straight up in the matter of no time. In the middle of your tree, you get rid of a lot of these water shoots. You leave some smaller ones, they're your fruiting wood still, they'll produce real nice fruit. But anything too low that's going to be hanging on the ground, you can get rid of it or strengthen it up a bit by just shorten it up a bit. Here's a perfect example of what will be called wind rub and just too much on the tree, where you've got one branch here and one there. So what I do is take the easy cut out, which is that one, and there's your beautiful limb now, and even take another one. And that's what you want to do. It saves your fruit from getting marked, wind rubbed, everything like that, because the limb's gone and it won't rub near the other one. It'll make your fruit hang like that in all different areas. And that's what we're sort of after. Here's a good example of a limb that shouldn't be there. But I'll take it off here because these secateurs aren't big enough. I'd like to do it that way and get it right out of the road. See what I mean? And them limbs will hang out on a good year. You with me? the fruit will hang, even up there. And we usually hedge them like we said, which you don't worry about too much up top. Have a look at this for a stupid limb. I'd like to take it right out, but I won't. I'll take it back like that. And we'll grow a new limb there. This one's in the middle of the tree. He's gone. That's what we call a troublesome limb. And it's more common sense. And you have a look back what we just done in this area, and it's not too bad then. Anything too low, which your fruit will be hanging on the ground and your herbicides have got to affect it, get rid of it. I like that limb, so he's staying there. Here's another one. Like we said, just a bit too much timber in there. So I would take that out. And see how it lightens your limb up? One cut. Very simple pruning. It's not rocket science. It's common sense, as I'll go on about.
There.
We're just thinning a few little branches off because there's too much in there, which means there's too much rubbish in there. And that's where we'll get the wind rub and gnarly fruit, whatever.
You're trying to produce space between the branches.
Yeah.
How much space do you want between the branches?
Well, just so you know they're going to hang. Like this branch will end up there. Well, he's going to be down in amongst it, isn't he? Because once the fruit's on them, they'll just come down. You can see our crowns where the boys haven't taken enough out. Where if that's me, this one's gone. Where you're starting to see they take a little bit of cutting out, but you don't want to open your tree up where direct sunlight's coming in, because that'll cause thousands of these to shoot again. When sunlight's in, they'll just shoot everywhere. Anyway, you can see there's some troublesome limbs all the way through these trees where if I had it my way, the boys wouldn't be getting away with it. Anyway. That's what Graham wants to do, is get them all nice and shaped where every year it's a lot easier to do. And that means take them crowns out. You know, you with me? Yeah. And they're not there at all, because you can see the mess up in there. See it? That's just a mess. Where this one, he should go to. Yep. And you can see what one cut does, eh? It opens it up. See, this side of the tree looks pretty good to me now. A little bit more up top, but we ain't got too much time to muck around just as I'm showing you. But you see through your tree, there's plenty of room for everything to hang and grow nice fruit that's not rubbing against too much other fruit. There's no dead wood in there, which is good. Where you see back to this side of the tree, a lot more bushy that we haven't cut much out of the top, like the crowns need to come out, a few of them, which, like you say, you don't grow very good fruit up there, but you still grow some nice fruit. And that's where your sunburn will come from anyway. That's why we hedge every year, because it is gnarly fruit right up top. And the cost of pruning a big tree this size is roughly $5 to $7 every year. You've got to spend that to get your better quality fruit, which will be first grade fruit and good size, is what they always want on an imperial mandarin.